Susie, we are being recorded.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairperson. Good evening, everyone. Happy April. I am about to call the roll, and I ask that when you hear your name, you tell us if you're present or that you are present. From the Office of City Council Speaker Adrian Adams, Tyrell Hankerson, Lynette Shelbourne Barfield. Okay. From the Office of Mayor Eric Adams, his Community Affairs Unit, Valerie Vasquez.
Present. Good evening.
Good evening, Valerie. From the Office of New York State Assembly Member Jeffrey Ann Aubrey, Louise Emanuel.
Present. Hi,
Good
Susie.
evening, Louise. Hello.
Hi.
Neighbor. From the Office of New York State Assembly Member Brian Benjamin, Debbie Lewis.
Brian Benjamin? Who is that?
Okay. Is Debbie Lewis here? From the office, from Boricua College, Moises Pereira. Ismael Sanchez. From Region 14, Brooklyn, NDA 11, 13, and 15, Victoria Camarote Curto. From Region 16, Queens, NDA 1, 8, and 9, Claudia Koger.
Good evening, present.
Good evening, Claudia. From Region 4, Bronx, NDA 7 and 8, Yesenia Cardona. From Congregation B'nai Abraham, Chairperson Isaac Heschel.
Present.
Good evening, Chairperson. From Region 2, Bronx, NDA 3 and 4, Cynthia Cox. NAB Chairperson Representative Manhattan and Staten Island, Ileana De La Rosa.
Good evening, present.
Good evening, Ileana. From the office, from Staten Island Borough President Vito J. Fosilla's office, is there a representative? From Doc Go, our second Vice Chairperson, Gregory Hambrick.
Present. Hey, Susie.
Good evening, Greg. From the Office of Bronx Borough President, Vanessa Gibson, Nelson Palacios, and Angel Gao Jr. From the Office of Manhattan Borough President, Mark Levine, Marielle Ali. From Region 6, Bronx, NDA 11 and 12, Grace Lovaglio.
President here. Nice to see you.
Grace, good to see you. From Region 18, Queens, NDA 12 and 14, Walter Jones.
Present.
Good evening, Mr. Jones. From Region 15, Brooklyn, NDA 14 and 17, no, our parliamentarian Rhonda Joseph is excused. From Region 12, Brooklyn, NDA 3, 8, and 9, Wayne King. From Region 17, Queens, 3, 4, and 7, Paul Mai.
You're present.
Good evening, Paul. From the Office of Council Member Christopher Marte, is there a representative?
Present.
Good evening, council member or
Yeah, good evening.
good evening. Lovely to have you. From Morris Heights Health Center, Gideon Dunkley. From Neighborhood Housing Services of Staten Island, Joseph Pierre. From Region 10, Brooklyn 1, 2, and 4, Clavis Pena. From Region 3, Bronx 5 and 6, Diletta Pina.
Hi, Susie. That is Dijeta Pina, and I'm present.
I am so sorry. Please
That's
say
okay.
again.
It's
Dijeta.
Dijeta. The double L sounds like a J. Dijeta Pina.
Dijeta Pina. Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Susie.
Okay. From the office of New York State Senator Roxanne Persaud, Sandy Miller.
Yes, I'm here.
Welcome, Sandy.
Thank you.
Good evening. From the office of Brooklyn Borough President Antonio Reynoso, Donovan Swanson.
Here.
Good evening, Donovan. From the office of Queensborough President Donovan Richards, myself, Secretary Susie Tannenbaum. I don't know if my alternate is here, Ludi Thanor. From Region 8, Manhattan 9 and 12, Jackie Rowe Adams.
Here. How are you?
Good evening, Jackie. From the office of New York City Council member Althea Stevens, Caitlin Connolly. From St. Francis College, Robert Oliva. Or Tirani Street. From the office of New York City Comptroller Brad Lander, Stephanie Campana Wheaton.
Hi, present. Hi, everyone.
Good evening, Stephanie. From Region 9, Manhattan 10 and 11, Derek Tate. From Region 13, Brooklyn NDA 5 and 16, Christopher Toomer. From the office of New York City Council member Sandra Ong, Shane Miller.
Hi, good evening, President.
Good evening, Shane. From UJA Federation of Jewish Philanthropies, third Vice Chairperson Ariel Savransky.
Here.
Good evening, Ariel. From United Neighborhood Houses, Nora Moran.
Present.
Good evening, Nora. From UPS, Janet DeLugos. Or Brian Clark. From Region 9, Staten Island 1, First Vice Chairperson Linda Walters. And from Region 7, Bronx 9, Justin Westbrook Lowry. Justin. And from the office of New York City Public Advocate, Jumani Williams, Elizabeth Kennedy. And that is the complete roll. Mr. Chairperson.
Thank you very much. As always, well done. Where do we stand as far as we have quorum? We have quorum. Excellent. I would now like to recognize Deleta Pina as the representative for Region 3, NDA Bronx 5 and 6. As a member of our board, she was a former chairperson of NAB Bronx 7 and now resides in NDA Bronx 5. I'll entertain a motion to accept the letter to our board. Motion to accept.
Motion to accept.
Victoria.
Victoria.
Thank you. Seconded by,
Jackie.
who second?
Jackie Rowe Adams.
Jackie, thank you for the second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I think this is the great. I'm gonna take the FDR drive. I'm getting out of here.
You can't get to the FDF from here.
Yes, I can. I'm gonna get out. I'm gonna go. I can't. This is too long. I have to go home too. I have to go home to talk. Are you kidding?
Listen to me.
Yeah, I'm gonna take that.
Can you,
Can you
Oh,
mute
oh.
if you're not talking in the meeting, please?
any nays? Anyone abstaining? So moved. Ms. Pena, it's a pleasure to welcome you aboard. If you would like to say a few words to the board, love to hear from you.
Sure. First of all, thank you everybody for approving my appointment. And I look forward to working with all of you. I've been an activist since I was 14 years old, working for my community back in my country. And I just brought that when I came over to this country, and I am always working for anybody that is more vulnerable than myself. And I look forward to keep on doing that with your support. Thank you so much for the appointment and for the approval.
Thank you for your kind words and welcome aboard. It's a pleasure to have you. We would now like to recognize Grace Lavaglio as the representative for Region 6, NDA Bronx 11 and 12. She was a former chairperson of NAB Bronx 11. We'll now entertain a motion to accept Grace to our board.
Oh, I can't hear you now.
We will entertain a motion to accept Grace to our board. Motion to accept.
I can't hear you. I don't know what you said. Can you hear me? What's going on with this?
We can hear you, Grace.
Oh. hold on.
You're not doing the motion. We need somebody to do a motion to accept Grace.
Motion to accept Grace to the board.
Yes,
Who is that?
Villeta.
thank you. Seconded by
I second.
Donovan. Thank you for the second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any nays? Anyone abstaining? So moved. Welcome aboard. Grace, if you would be so kind and address the board, we would greatly appreciate it. Okay. Moving along. We will now recognize Walter Jones as the representative for Region 18, NDA Queens 12 and 14, who was the former chairperson of NAB Queens 14. Motion to accept Walter Jones.
Motion to accept. Susie.
Susie, thank you. Seconded by
I'll second Ileana De La Rosa.
Ileana. Thank you for the second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any nays? Anyone abstaining? So moved.
No, I need to.
Hi, excuse me, hi. I wasn't able to hear, so I got out and I had to come back in the meeting, so I have no idea what you said. This is Grace
Okay.
Lavaglio.
We officially welcome you to the board, Grace. And if you
Thank
would
you.
like to say a few words, please do so at the moment.
Oh, well, it's a pleasure to be here, finally. I look forward to learning and doing whatever I can on the board and getting to meet you guys in person at some point. Thank you so much for welcoming me, and that's it.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to have you on board. Mr. Jones, if you would like to address the board, please do so.
Can you hear me? Because it's very difficult for me to hear you.
Yes, sir, we hear you.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity and I'm looking at it as a learning experience.
We are happy to have you on board, and besides it being a learning experience, it's a wonderful experience to be part of this great network of selfless and dedicated individuals who do so much for the city. So it's a pleasure to have you be part of this great group.
Thank you.
I'm sure you all had a chance to review the minutes from the CAB meeting we had on January 26th. I will now entertain a motion to accept the minutes of that meeting. Motion to accept.
Motion to accept Jackie Rowe Adams.
Jackie, thank you very much. Seconded by,
Seconded by Valerie Vasquez.
Valerie Vasquez.
Valerie, thank you for the second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Anyone abstaining? So moved. Thank you. I will now ask Ardis Sanmoogan to be so kind and give one of our excellent financial reports. Ardis is the Senior Budget Director for the Community Development and Grants Management. Ardis?
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. Good evening all, and I will now share my screen. So please bear with me. Can folks see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Awesome. Good evening again, and welcome to the new members of the board. For your benefit, I'm going to give an overview of how the CSBG funds is allocated in DYCD. To date, we have $40.5 million in city fiscal year 2023. Of that, $33.2 million is allocated to our program contracts. This represents 82% of the overall award, and it's in line with how DYCD has allocated the CSBG funds in the past. 5% of that $40.5 million, which is $2.2 million, is allocated on the other contractual services. And these line items support the program contracts by providing either technical assistance or fiscal field reviews and so on. Rounding out the budget is $5.2 million of personal services. And this is the funds that are spent on the DYCD staff, such as myself, Mike Bobbitt, Anita, and so on. I'm now going to go into greater detail on the program contracts, the biggest portion of our budget. $16.1 million is allocated to the neighborhood development group, and that covers about 6 to 8 subcategories of programs. We have a senior program, we have a healthy family program, we have a high school program, we have 2 immigrant services program, one for ESOL and one for application assistance. We have 2 new programs, economic development, and the other is safety awareness and crime prevention. Those 8 programs, as I said, $16.1 million is applied to that. Service for immigrant families, we have a budget of $590,000. We have several legal services contracts that our sister agency, HRA, carries out on our behalf, and that has a budget of $2.1 million. The New York City Adult Literacy Initiative, or NYCALI for short, has a CSBG budget of $501,000. The Fatherhood Initiative is coming in at $2.8 million. An adolescent literacy program is just under $830,000. And the Summer Youth Employment Program is coming in at $10.2 million. And as I said before, the sum of those programs are $33.2 million. We ran our data for the expenses for this report on April 5th. However, the data is based on July through February because our CBOs are required to submit their invoices after the 10th of every month. So we have no expenses for March in this report. And 7 months out of 12 months represents about a 58%, or should be in a 58% spending rate. Most of our programs fall below, the expenses fall below the 58 spending rate. NDA at $4.9 million represents 30% of its budget. The services for immigrant families, $270,000 is 46% of its budget. HRA legal services currently stands at 17%, whereas NYCALI is at 54%. Fatherhood Initiative, just about 50%. Adolescent literacy, 45%. And because the Summer Youth Employment Program operates from July through August every year, we have a spending rate at 100% at this point in time. You will notice that our expenses are less than our payments, and that is because DYCD provides an advance to our program, our CBOs at the start of the year, so they can get up and running before they submit invoices for us to be reimbursed for them. So for the period of July through December, when a provider submits an invoice for reimbursement, if they have received an advance, we reimburse that invoice at 100%. From January through June, our accounts payable unit starts to recoup some of those advances. So at the start of the year, the variance between our expenses and our payments was much greater. But now that we are in April, or really the data that you see here is through February, the difference between our expenses and our payments are starting to be reduced, meaning that our accounts payable staff are starting to recoup some of those expenses. Nevertheless, we have total payments of 63% overall, which is $21 million out of a $33.2 million budget. And the balance to be vouchered is just over $12 million. $12 million. Now I want to, for new members of the board, I want to say that this is very normal for our providers. They're very slow in submitting invoices at the start of the year. And as the year progresses, we see that they're submitting expenses on a regular basis and also for higher amounts. So DYCD, when we are closing city fiscal year 23 in 2 months, we will be setting up accruals with an expectation that we'll have about 97% spending and a 3% underspending. And now move on to the other contractual services. The categories we have here are technical assistance at $1.6 million, fiscal field reviews, where we hire an outside auditing firm to do desk reviews for our CSBG providers. That's at $193,000. Our fiscal agent services is 11.3, and this purchase is to support small CBOs who do not have an in-house fiscal team to manage things like payroll and so on. They contribute to a citywide contract, and this contract helps those small providers with the fiscal and other such non-direct services. The rest of the other contractual services are spent in-house by DYCD to support and enhance the programs that we serve. So we have a marketing and public awareness and outreach budget. We have a budget for public publications, printing, subscriptions, employee development, recruitment, travel, technology, board development, stipends, and central insurance program. All of that rounds out to $2.2 million. And year to date, we've spent $636,000, which is about 29% of the overall budget. Unlike program contracts, there are no advances for these line items here. Whatever is spent, that's what's paid. So payments and expenses are exactly the same. Finally, personal services with a budget of 5.2. Year to date, we have $2.5 million in expenses, which is about 49% of the personal services budget. So overall, with a budget of $40.5 million, we have 52% in expenses, 60% of payments. And overall, we have payments of $20.1 million, just over 50% of the overall budget. And now I'll give you a comparison of where we were when we last met in January. In January, for program contracts, we had expenses of $9.4 million. And today, with our expenses at $17.8 million, that's an increase of 90% from the last meeting that we had. So this shows that as the year goes on, expenses ramps up. We have a 90% increase in spending between January and today. The other areas also have increases. We had a $196,000 expense for other contractual services. We now have $636,000, which is over 200%. For personal services, we were at $1.2 million. Now we're at 2.5, which is a little more than a double. So overall, the programs are spending as we expect. And as I mentioned, when we close out city fiscal year 23, we will be projecting about a 97% spending rate for the overall program. I'm happy to answer any questions that folks have. I will make this back to the top so you can see the information that I presented before.
So Jackie Rowe Adams.
Hello.
So, Madam, Mr. Chair, may I?
Absolutely, Jackie, please go ahead.
So the summer youth program budget, is that a whole separate entity?
So the Department of Youth and Community Development has a summer youth employment program with a budget of over, I'd say, over $120 million.
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought you said over two.
I'm sorry.
I thought you said over 2 million. No, how much is the summer youth?
Overall, it's about $120 million.
Okay.
And of that, DYCD, of that's about $10 million of CSBG funds are in that pool of funds.
Oh, okay. I thought it was just that, just separate.
Oh, no. That's a drop in the bucket to what's in the SYP program.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you for your question.
Okay.
Hi, Donovan Swanson, Brooklyn Borough President's Office. I have a quick question. So due to understanding that providers or organizations that are awarded may ask for advances, right? I know that as we get to the end of the fiscal year, when some of those invoices that they submit may not result in payment, right? Because we're recouping those funds. What's been DYCD's strategy in ensuring that like all invoices are received from just a fiscal auditing stance? And what's been the success rate? Like, have you gotten all invoices at the end of
it's very rare for a CBO to submit 100% invoices for 100% of their budget. It's very rare. Historically, it's been in the range of 96 to 98%, which is how we land at a 97%. There are a few who submit at 100% rate, and there are some who submit at lower than the 97%, and that's how we get there. Because we want to claim as much CSBG as possible from the state, we are in contact. I work in the fiscal end of it. Mike Bobbitt and his team work on the programmatic end. They're the ones who have are in direct contact with the CBOs. So we rely on them ever so often to reach out to the providers and say, hey, you know, we need to submit a claim at a certain time. If you have not submitted invoices as yet, or you haven't submitted for these past few months, can you do so? So our program folks do a pretty good job of interacting with the CBOs. Obviously, you know, with over 150 CBOs for this program, there are some that are slow stragglers, are having problems internally, and they can't do it as fast as they can. But that's why we have a budget for technical assistance, where we hire professional consultants and so on. If we notice there's issues that providers are having, financial management issues or other kinds of issues, the funds that we have there in the technical assistance bucket is for us, these professional consultants, to reach out to those CBOs to see what kind of help they can give so that they can not only continue to provide the great direct services they are providing, but also to see if they can improve their management of the contract.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Susie, I see you raised your hand.
Yes. Good evening, Ardis.
Hi, Susie. How are you?
Good, good. So you mentioned in your presentation that tell me if I got this right. In terms of program contracts, we should be at 58% more or less spending rate.
Yeah, if you divide 7 by 12, you'll get 58%.
Got it.
Because it's through the months of February, and that's the 7th month in the city fiscal year.
Okay, so I see in column F, percent of expenses, we're at 54%, which is more or less, I mean, it's close to 58%. But my question is, I noticed that within that category. Some programs are, the spending rate is quite low. HRA is only 17%, neighborhood development group is 30%. Is that normal, quote unquote? Is it easily that low?
It is. So this is the first year of the NDA, the Neighborhood Development Group's RFP. As you know, we rolled out an RFP last year, and we've awarded funds. We now have a new 3-year contract. Every time we have a new RFP, in the very first year of the RFP, spending is a lot slower than normal, because programs we may have some new providers, folks. There's probably new terms of the contract that they're getting used to. They may need to hire up new staff that they didn't have before. It's normal for spending to be low for the first couple of months of the year, but that doesn't mean that once the year ends and we set up accruals and they continue to submit invoices 12 months from now, which they can, it doesn't mean that they wouldn't spend all of the funds that they have or a very high percentage of the funds that they have. Yeah. That's the NDA question. The HRA question answer is, we have no control over HRA, and we have to constantly bombard them to send us invoices. And HRA is a big organization, huge, and with some big entities, they're kind of like a bully, and DYCD is kind of small. And even though we would send out repeated emails saying, hey, according to the terms of our memorandum of understanding, you're supposed to submit an invoice every quarter. Can you please do so? Yeah, we have no control over them. But, there is a hard deadline when they can submit invoices to us according to the comptroller's rules and regulations. And so come August 15th or so, I'm pretty sure that they will have submitted invoices by then, because this is money to them. They don't want to be paying for this with their own funds when there's another agency who's willing to pay for it.
Right.
So that's the answer to those two program areas. But thank you for that question. That's an excellent question.
Thanks for the excellent answer.
Thank you. I see there's another hands up.
Yeah, Floretta.
Brian. You're muted.
Yes, hi, everybody.
Hi.
How you doing?
Well, how
I'm
are
a
you?
little confused. I thought that all of the summer youth employment programs were funded through DYCD. Is that, I take it that's not true?
No, it is. But this is, so the summer youth employment program has a massive budget, and it's mostly made up of city tax levy and a very small portion of CSBG. So what I'm reporting on here is just the CSBG portion of the summer youth employment program.
All right. Okay, that confused me. Thank you for clearing that up.
Not at all, not at all.
Any further questions? Ardis, as always, thank you for the clear and concise report. We appreciate it. I will now.
Thank you very much. And thanks all for your questions. It's always exciting to have those. Have a good night, folks.
Good night. We'll now entertain a motion to accept the financial program quarterly report. Motion to accept.
Motion, Donovan Swanson.
Donovan, thank you. Second by?
Second by Villeta Pina.
Villeta Pina, thank you for the second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Anyone abstaining? So moved. It's now an honor and a pleasure for me to introduce the Honorable Assistant Commissioner Ron Zhang. He is the Assistant Commissioner of Community Development, who will present the Commissioner's report. Commissioner?
Great, thank you. Thank you, Chair. Good evening and welcome. Welcome all the new members of CAB. I'm very pleased to give you the Commissioner's report today. Deputy Commissioner Mike Bobbitt is at another event, so I'm doing it on his behalf. I'll start with an update on the federal poverty guidelines that CSBG programs must follow. As you know, the CSBG Act generally permits states to use up to 125% of the federal poverty guidelines as the income eligibility standard for CSBG funded programs, services, and activities. Per the Consolidated Appropriations Act 2023, states may revise this standard by substituting 200% for 125% for all CSBG funding during federal fiscal years 2022 and 2023. So New York has elected to use the maximum 200% income eligibility standard for CSBG funded programs, services, and activities provided from October 1st, 2021 through September 30th, 2023. So which means that our current federally funded CSBG programs are, following the 200% federal poverty guidelines. Then a quick update on the DYCD reissued NDA RFPs. So DYCD will be reissuing the following NDA RFPs for Queens 14 and 4. So immigrant services application assistance, that's for Queens 4, and safety and awareness for Queens 14. So RFP will be released on May 8th. Proposals are due June 9th. Awards will be made towards mid-June, and contracts are expected to start at the beginning of September. Community needs assessment. After collecting nearly double the number of 2019 community needs assessment surveys in 2022, DYCD will begin tabulating the surveys with Policy Studies Associates, known as PSA, in preparation for a public report to be available sometime in the spring. This is the largest ever conducted CNA, and we anticipate being able to share citywide, borough-focused, and NDA level analysis on the findings, as well as being able to point to highlights from key stakeholders. Input from these surveys and public hearings held late last year help inform strategies to connect low-income neighborhoods to the services and programs they need most. And here again, I wanted to express thanks to all of you who helped, promote the needs assessment, and we, did a great job on working together. Next, last time we briefly mentioned that the Office of Neighborhood Safety, ONS, is coming over to DYCD. So now we're pleased to report that ONS, the office, has moved to DYCD's 2 Lafayette location, this building. They moved here on February 13th. So therefore starting the integration with the office of that office into DYCD's structure. As you know, the mission of the office is to strengthen community safety, healing, and well-being through holistic investments in the resources that communities need to thrive. ONS initiatives provide interventions for people at risk of violence. The program areas within ONS are the Mayor's Action Plan for Neighborhood Safety, MAP, which operates in 30 NYCHR developments citywide to ensure residents have voice in defining priorities for safety and quality of life in their communities. Second is CMS. CMS is a network of providers implementing a cure violence model of violence prevention and holistic wraparound to young people at high risk for gun violence across New York City neighborhoods where violence is most prevalent. Then Atlas is another program that offers intensive evidence-based therapeutic services to address past trauma, mentorship education, employment opportunities, and entry into supportive community networks. The next program area is called Precision Employment Initiative that connects New Yorkers at risk of gun violence with job training opportunities. These are very brief, overview of the program areas. If you are interested in any of those program areas, get more information, we should be able to provide them. Now, next, I want to talk a little bit about the restructure of the units within DYCD. DYCD units, including CD, youth services, youth, workforce, in an effort to increase our presence and engage communities in New York City, we all have reimagined and restructured approaches to our work. Staff are assigned to borough teams consisting of borough managers, NDA leads, and NAB liaisons, which facilitate the coordination of activities within each borough. The borough managers and NDA leads, in collaboration with NAB liaisons, will also function as a community resource team to help address borough and geographical issues and resources, connect with neighborhood coalitions, and plan and participate in events. The RCD restructure mirrors youth services, similar use of deputy directors as borough managers. The newly created Strategic Partnerships Division at DYCD helps to quarterback these local convenings and conventions. DYCD is now positioned to follow the one DYCD mantra Commissioner Howard has been stating. Everybody probably has heard about the Summer Rising program at DYCD. So Summer Rising, thank you. After applications opened for Summer Rising, roughly 50,000 students have signed up for New York City's free summer school and enrichment program. DYCD pivoted away from a first come, first served enrollment model that in prior years shut families out of the program. This summer, families are able to apply anytime during the enrollment period process. Students with disabilities in foster care or who live in temporary housing, including many migrants from the South American border, will be prioritized for sites at the schools they attend year round. And then here are some upcoming events. Affirming Fatherhood. DYCD is hosting its annual New York Fatherhood Convening in recognition of affirming fatherhood, building stronger families and safer communities. This year, there will be 2 separate sessions, one on May 4th, and it is a virtual meeting, and the other is going to be in person, to be held on Friday, June 2nd. DYCD will join our fatherhood participants, partner agencies, community stakeholders, and the general public in bringing awareness to and affirming the role of fathers through parenting. With more than 20 interactive workshops, attendees will have the opportunity to connect with fatherhood leaders who are leading the change, and gain insight, inspiration, and receive resources and support. Another event is, probably people know it very well, community moms and dads. We used to have community moms only, right? So this year we have added, dads to this event. So DYCD is honoring moms and dads this June by nominating a community mom or community dad for our award. The theme of our DYCD Community Moms and Dads event is the thread that makes us stronger, celebrating moms and dads, as well as caregivers who provide inspiration and support to families and communities. These community moms and dads, whether volunteers, mentors, teachers, community leaders, healthcare staff, essential workers, caregivers, aunts, uncles, sisters, or brothers, dedicate their time and energy to the physical, social, and emotional well-being of our city. So the due date for nomination is May 10th. It was April 13th, I believe. We have extended that to May 10th. So we welcome all of you to actually help nominate, dads and moms and send them to DYCD. We have shared the link with everybody. So if you don't have them and you need them, yeah, so we can share again. So we certainly welcome, nominations. Another event is Sprint into Health. We are sponsoring a, 2023 Sprint into Health campaign. The events will take place this May and June. Purpose of this campaign is to strengthen, support, and mobilize to improve community health by providing an array of holistic services. Themes include safety and wellness, workforce, and advocacy. So, and here I'd like to specifically credit Ebony Jordan Wilson for leading an agency-wide work group to ensure its embrace. This event is embraced throughout the agency. Last but not least, and we'll talk a little bit update on our own NAB and CAB liaison unit. The unit participated in DYCD Strategic Partnerships Neighborhood Strategic Unit Future Giants Initiative in Central Harlem at Central Harlem. This Meet DYCD event included many program providers in that area, and the NAB unit spoke with more than 50 people and received over 20 applications for NAB membership. That's great. Another event will be scheduled for Washington Heights, Inwood. I guess that's going to be very soon, right? Yeah. NAB members are leading this year's Sprint into Health activities or campaign, as I mentioned it earlier. Okay, so this is happening now through June. So once confirmed, we will share the schedule, and the CAB members are also welcome to attend. The first event happened last Saturday in NDA Manhattan 3. That's Chinatown, Lower East Side area. It was very well attended. That concludes the commissioner's report. Thank you all. Yes, welcome any questions.
More of a comment than a question, but happy to hear about the restructuring, and just for Brooklyn Borough Hall, would love to hear more from the Brooklyn liaisons and to have a formal meeting.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. We appreciate the report. We appreciate the outstanding leadership you provide to this wonderful agency. Thank you, sir.
Excuse me, this is the Jetta Pina. I just have a comment on the community mom. I was nominated and I got the award, and it was very satisfying. I got my little award that I could show to my family, and it was really, really satisfying to be acknowledged for all the work that I did, even though it was work that I did without pay on a volunteer basis. But just to get that award was really, really satisfying. And I thank you, and I encourage everybody to please nominate a mom or a dad for that award, because it's something that we can give back without actually having to spend anything, just to give people a pat on the back for all the work that they do.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that.
I will now entertain a motion to accept the commissioner's report. Motion to accept.
Motion to accept the commissioner's report, Villeta Pina.
The letter, thank you. Seconded by
Derek Tate.
Derek, thank you for the second. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Any nays? Anyone abstaining? So moved.
Mr. Chair, there are a couple of people who want to ask the Assistant Commissioner some quick questions. Is that okay? I see
Sure.
Kate
Hold on.
Connolly has a question and I'd like to ask a quick question. Thank you.
Commissioner, they have some questions for you.
Okay, sure.
Hi all, Kate from Councilmember Althea Stevens' office here. Just a really quick one around when we'll know who's being honored as a community mom and dad.
Only right after the voting, within a week after the voting finishes.
Yeah, when the vote nominations received, there will be actually there will be an event.
Right, but
Yeah.
we'll know exactly
Right.
who the recipients are.
Yeah, we will announce that, and then there will be a celebrating event at Gracie Mansion.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we will.
Right, and when's that going to be announced?
Well,
Let me see.
what's the deadline?
The
May
now
8th.
extended to May 8th.
So probably the middle of May. Kate.
Thank you.
Just
And
to
I would-
clarify, didn't you say earlier it was extended to May 10th, not May 8th? I just want to make sure I have the date correct.
Yes.
May 10th, sorry. Yeah.
Thank you.
Commissioner, a quick question. You mentioned that DYCD is reissuing RFPs for Queens 4 and 14. Could you just say what reissuing RFP means? Does that mean it's open to all CBOs, all nonprofits?
Yes. So as you know that the RFP actually came out last year, and we started the program this July, but there were competitions where there was, no viable proposals. So we had to, make sure that the money is actually allocated to communities. So RFP for immigrant services, application assistance and safety and awareness had to be reissued for these two NDAs. Those who can provide services and have program sites within those NDAs should be able to apply.
Very good. Thanks.
Sure.
Thank you for your presentation.
What's the other question? Oh, Kate again? Kate Connolly, she has another question.
Okay, go ahead.
Nope, sorry, I just forgot to take my hand down.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. Appreciate it though.
Sure.
So do we have any further questions for the commissioner? Okay. Thank you, Commissioner, once again.
Thank you.
The executive committee met on April 23rd. Meeting began at 6:17. We discussed the agenda for tonight's meeting. We voted on it. The governance program and strategic partnership committee reports were reviewed and discussed, and the executive meeting ended at 6:43 p.m. I will now ask Linda to be so kind and give the governance report. Linda? I know she was having trouble
I
getting
know.
on.
Well, I could do it before. Is she there, Nick? You see them? No? Okay, I'll do it. Hi, everybody. How's everybody? It's good to see you all. Okay, on behalf of Linda Walters, the Chair of the Governance Committee, I am going to give this report. The committee met on Wednesday, March 22nd, and they discussed the following: CAB vacancies. In the public sector, there are no more vacancies, nor in the private sector. However, we are still looking for the Staten Island Borough President to send a representative to the meetings, to the CAB and full meetings. In the low income sector, we are in the process of a candidate search for Region 1, which is NDA Bronx 1 and 2, and Region 7, NDA Manhattan 3. We are also looking for a NAB chairperson representative for the Bronx and Queens and for Brooklyn. So those are 2 positions. The reason we have not moved forward with those elections was that we were having elections within the NABs, and these are solely for chairpersons to vote on a representative to come to the CAB. So we're working on that now. The other elections, you saw the 3 members who were welcomed into the CAB. Those elections are finished. So we are making progress there. In the CAB attendance, there were 3 excused absences as of the January 26th meeting. And the next business that the governance conducts are the election of officers, because all of the officers, their term has come to an end. So they need to be voted in again. And we are looking for candidates. We do have a slate that the committee is presenting, and I'll read that to you right now. For chairperson, Isaac Heschel. For first vice chairperson, Greg Hambert. For second vice chairperson, Ariel Savransky. For third vice chairperson, Susan Tannenbaum. And for secretary is vacant. So we are looking for a candidate there. And parliamentarian.
Sorry,
Oh, okay. And for parliamentarian, it's Rhonda Joseph is the candidate. So, but anybody can still submit their name as a candidate, or you can nominate somebody else. You just have to get their permission to do so and to have them accept. So that's still open. At the June CAB meeting, there will be the actual election. And before that happens, we will also accept nominations from the floor. But I would suggest you don't have to wait. You can just give me a call, or you can call the office and say that you would like to be a candidate. And as I said before, the secretary position is open. We don't have a candidate right now for that position. And with the governance committee minutes, I added the slate is there. And then I also added the board officer descriptions. So you can take a look at that and decide if you'd like to be the candidate. It's a 3-year position. You can run again for another 3 years. Most of our candidates that are running again are going into their 3rd year of service. So any questions, we're always available to answer any questions. And then after that, the meeting ended 6:18 p.m. Any questions?
I don't have a question. This is Tijeta Pina. I just want to say, I just want to acknowledge how much of a support you have been to me since 2013 that I started doing the community needs assessment.
Yes.
With your guidance, you are a gem.
Oh, thank you.
The city of New York City. I know you're humble and you don't want to hear it, but you need to hear that you are a
No,
hero.
because I'm only as good as the neighborhood advisory board members.
But you are
So
a
you-
hero to this city, and I
So
thank
from-
you for your guidance, and for your support.
You're
And
welcome.
I agree with that assessment.
Okay.
definitely.
And I do too. Jackie Rowe Adams definitely agreed. Thank you.
That's right, Loretta
From one
O'Brien.
gem to all of the other
Okay, we all
gems.
want to second that motion.
Thank you,
Right.
Violeta.
You need an applaud because you are a wonderful person, a very powerful woman, and you
Ah.
support other women, and that's what we need.
Yes.
We need to stop the cattiness among women, and we need to support each other. So thank you just for being you. And
You're welcome, Violeta.
I have a question. Where is Jose, George?
Mendoza, he retired like 3 years ago.
Jorge, he retired?
Yes.
Yeah, oh.
Yeah,
You know.
Jorge, he retired. It's about 3 years now, I think.
Oh, wow.
He's living the high life, doing a lot of traveling.
The pandemic separated us, so we didn't know a lot of stuff. Okay.
Yeah, actually, that's when just before the pandemic, he retired.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
That's another good person. So
Yes, yes.
but
Jorge
thank-
was great.
Thank you. I think it's unanimous as far as what we all think of and how much we value and appreciate the outstanding work and leadership that Nita provides. So can't say enough about that. I will now entertain a motion to accept the governance committee report. Motion to accept.
motion
Loretta
to accept
O'Brien.
from Villeta Pina.
Yeah, and it's
Tina.
seconded by Loretta O'Brien.
Seconded
but-
by Fleur.
No, Loretta can't second because she's not a.
Oh,
member.
okay. Sorry about that.
Sorry, Loretta.
Okay,
Okay. I'm
I
eager
just-
to participate. You know how that goes.
Yes, I know.
I need a second, please.
second.
Jackie.
Jackie, thank you for the second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any
Aye.
nays? Anyone abstaining? So moved. Thank you. I will now ask
Greg.
Greg to be so
He's
kind.
not feeling well. He asked me to.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I wasn't aware of it.
Yeah.
Greg
I know
is a little
he's
bit under
there,
the weather.
but
We wish him the very best. I hope he feels better. And once again,
I'm back.
I give over the mic and the video.
Okay, one more time. So the program committee met on Wednesday, March 15th. And they had a presentation from the Adolescent Literacy Program, Ms. Migdalia Cortez Torres, Community School Director of the Children's Aid Society, Salome Ureña Campus. And it was a wonderful presentation of all the work that they're doing with these middle school, I believe it's 5th grade through 8th grade students to help them gain enough credits so that they can go on to high school. So it's a program that really focuses in on them. It's project-based. And I did, I think I did add some things here. So it really was a great presentation, and I wholeheartedly encourage people to come to the program committee. We have a lot of regulars with us on the CAB. It's always wonderful how that committee receives the presentations. And this meeting was recorded, so I will encourage all of you to go to our YouTube channel, DYCD NYC on YouTube, and you can listen to the presentation there. So that program does a lot of work, a lot of good work, and helps those children so that they're ready for high school, to go into high school. some of the things that they were doing, that the children were doing, that they pointed out, they're building boats and they're taking those boats onto the Harlem River and rowing them down the Harlem River. So it's really, really, really an amazing program. The other programs that were, we had 2 presentations of the Economic Development Program, and that's one of the new programs in the NDA family of programs. And it was Lynette Battle, Economic Development Strategist from Bridge Street Development Corporation, and Martina Sorensi, Program Director of Brooklyn Bureau of Community Services. The PowerPoint I sent with the program committee minutes, and they're doing just wonderful, wonderful things. The CBO, Brooklyn BCS, Brooklyn Community Services, envisions healthy and sustainable communities where members are engaged as leaders, neighborhoods draw from their strength, and generations flourish together. So the goal of the business development, the Small Business Development Center, is to provide educational and support services to aspiring entrepreneurs, new and current small business owners, to help them establish and maintain their businesses in the community and for the community. And so they provide not only how to do your business, how to run your business, how to start up your business, but they provide spaces for the businesses to flourish. They provide pop-up shops, which any business owner can tell you costs a fortune. But they provide it to these businesses, and they provide it regularly on weekends and other holiday events. And they had some of the businesses talk about in their presentation, talk about how they're working, how they're thriving. And it's just wonderful, because I do remember when I grew up in the South Bronx, and we had businesses all around, and you could buy anything anywhere. And then we had the years where you couldn't buy anything anywhere because the businesses had all left, and it was a very hard time there. So this program is really, really working. And again, this is all on our YouTube channel, and you can watch it, or you can come to the program committee meetings and hear about all of these wonderful programs. And the meeting ended at 7:15 p.m. with a little bit late, but we had a lot of information. And that's the end of my presentation right now. Any questions? We will send a link to the YouTube, the recordings to you tomorrow. Okay, back, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Anita. We'll now entertain a motion to accept the program committee report. Motion to accept.
Motion, Donovan Swanson.
Donovan, thank you. Seconded by?
Ileana De La Rosa seconds.
Thank you for the second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any nays? Anyone abstaining? So moved. I will now ask,
Don't think we have our presenter.
no, Ariel, I need to, Ariel Savransky will be gracious enough to give the strategic partnership report.
Sorry.
Ariel?
Great, thank you. And for some reason, I can't open the link with the minutes, but I remember most of it, but Anita and others feel free to fill in any gaps. So we had a great presentation by Sarah Whitney, who runs the SYP program. Spent most of the meeting talking about ways to get more people involved and recruit businesses. As you all might have heard, the deadline to apply for kids was extended until April 14th. And worksite applications are still opened until May 26th. So something we can share with the board is a toolkit that DYCD put together that basically is just going to help if you have any businesses who are interested in being involved in the program. We also talked a lot about the work that DYCD is doing to collect stories from SYP alumni, employers, and partners. And that's to celebrate the 60th anniversary of SYP. So if you're interested in sharing that opportunity with your network, or participating yourself, or if you know others who would like to participate, feel free to reach out and we can make sure that we make the correct connection. We talked about the NAB and CAB vacancies, and Anita covered that in the minutes that were reported out earlier. And then we just touched base again on the community needs assessment. And I think it's still pretty amazing how many forms were submitted. And I think we should continue to celebrate that. So thank you to everyone who was involved in those efforts. And I also just want to highlight with the recruitment efforts, the borough president's representatives at our Strategic Partnerships Committee have been a huge help in terms of trying to get more members. So just thank you for all of your work as well.
Thank you very much, Ariel. Much appreciated. Well, now, any questions for Ariel? I'll now entertain a motion to accept the Strategic Partnership Committee report. Motion to accept.
Motion to.
Donovan, thank you. Seconded by
Seconded
Susie
by
Tannenbaum.
Yep.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Any nays? Anyone abstaining? So moved.
Is Dr. Khadija Diallo. And she's going to talk about the strategic partnership.
Okay. A little bit of a change. Commissioner Dale Joseph is not available. Dr. Diallo is going to be kind enough to give us a short presentation.
Okay. She's the Director of Neighborhood Strategy.
She's the Director of Neighborhood Strategies
for the Strategic Partnership.
For the Strategic Partnership Unit of DYCD.
Well, hello, everyone. I am Dr. Khadija Diallo. It is such a pleasure to see many of your faces and many of your names here and just hear this whole meeting. I am the Director of Neighborhood Strategies, which is actually part of the Strategic Partnerships division. And we are really trying to be the face of DYCD. We have, on our special initiative side, we have a number of programs that you may already have heard of, like Step It Up, which is our social justice dance competition that is going to be, the big show is going to be on June 17th, I want to say. So that's at the Apollo Theater. We have a lot of other initiatives. For instance, today was We Trending, which is a large campaign to bring social media influencers and city government together in one space. So we were assisting with that one today. So our unit really, well, my small unit, Neighborhood Strategies, is really trying to connect communities with the resources that we have and really connect the resources that we have with communities. So we, earlier in the conversation today, Assistant Commissioner Rong was able to speak about Future Giants and my unit actually coming together to bring our providers along with Anita and her team to Harlem. We're looking into seeing how we can do another one of those provider fairs in Harlem as well. The last thing I'll say before I pass the mic back to Mr. Chair is that we are working with the mayor and the first deputy mayor, as well as all of DYCD, to really kind of focus in on the 6 precincts, NYPD precincts that have the highest incidence of gun violence. And there's 4 in the Bronx and 2 in Brooklyn. And we're really trying to see how we can strategize and bring awareness and gather folks together to understand ways that we can shift the upstream of gun violence. So that's one of our big charges at this time. Yeah, so I will pause and see if there's any questions from anyone at this time. Oh, I do see a hand up, Miss Kate Conley.
Hi, yes, I'm Kate Connolly from Councilmember Stevens' office in District 16 in the West Bronx, and I'm pretty sure at least 2 of those precincts overlap with the district. So we'd just love to stay in touch and be looped into conversations about the work that you're doing, because we work very closely with those precincts as well as with the different community partners who are involved in anti-violence work. So please keep in touch with our office, and would love to connect with you offline. I can put my information in the chat if that's helpful.
Sure, absolutely. And I think Miss Anita might be able to put my information in, but I can just also tell you too that it's.
Oh yeah, Anita also has all of the information too. So I can reach out to her and have her connect us as well, if that makes sense.
She's nodding her head. Yes, absolutely.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Anita.
Yes, awesome. And then we've got 2, I see one hand, Delita, and then I see Miss Delita first, and then I see Miss Jackie.
Okay, so my name is Dijeta. I know it's difficult.
Dijeta.
Yeah.
Dijeta, I'm sorry.
That's okay. The double L is like a J sound. But you mentioned the Bronx. Where in the Bronx?
I want to say the 40th precinct, the 42nd, 44th, and 47th.
44.
Okay. That gives me a little bit of peace of mind, because I'm in the 46th. I'm in the 46th, and let me tell you, I do admire the officers in the 46th. I moved here in December. My building is very secure, but the surrounding areas, and as I walk around my neighborhood, because I'm very active in my community, as I walk around the neighborhood, I see what the officers, the challenges that they face every day. So I'm glad that you didn't mention my precinct, but I also want you to keep my precinct in mind, because they may need help and resources, and that is the 46th precinct in the Bronx. The officers there are so helpful, and they listen to the community, and that normally doesn't happen. I felt like I moved here in December. And since I moved here and I've been going to the precinct council meetings, I felt like I'm home with them. So please keep in mind that, yes, the precinct council, the community affairs officers need all the help that they can get, because they're dealing with a lot of stuff, a lot of mental issues that we need to take care of.
Okay.
So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, Miss Jackie is next.
Unmute. Of course, my phone rang when I was going on, but I just wanted, the question is, how are you recruiting for the Step It Up, and could I audition? I want to be in the dance contest.
I will link you to the person about that. They are down to, I want to say they're down to the 10 finalists.
Wow.
Yes, they're coming down. Yeah. So young people and their dance person who's leading it were able to submit their interests. And so it's
excellent,
narrowing down to 10 finalists.
I do not want to miss that. I do not want to.
Good to know.
Sure that I get that. Yeah, that is so cool. I said, oh, once upon a time I was a dancer, but I think I still got it. But
I think you do too. I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt it at all.
We'll let the young people take it, you know. But I'm going to definitely not miss that. What date is it? I'm gonna try to get my schedule done.
June 17th. But we can get you the information. Yeah.
Please. Okay. Very good. Okay.
And then I believe Mr. Donovan.
Hi, yes. I just in the same vein as Chair Stevens, staff, Kate. Again, if I could get the Brooklyn precincts, and Anita, if you could facilitate connection as well, I think that'd be super helpful.
Yep, 73rd and 75th.
73rd and 75th. Thank you.
And I wanted to just say that we are working with, the first deputy mayor and the Gun Violence Prevention Task Force. So we're working with them on this. Miss Kate, you have your hand up. Did you have a question?
Nope, just keep forgetting to put my hand down, but I do
All
appreciate
right.
all of DYCD's attention to detail. Thank you.
Thank you. So if there's no further questions, I'm going to pass the computer back to Mr. Chair. It was a pleasure sitting here with you all and listening, being part of this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor, for that wonderful presentation. We know it was last minute,
Yes.
and you did an outstanding
Doc
job.
always steps in, always.
So thank you very much. Moving along, before we discuss, old business, I just want to mention that we greatly appreciate that the Honorable Christopher Marte, who's the council member for New York City, New York City Council, who actually represents the area that DYCD is in, joined us personally for the meeting. We appreciate it very much. So thank you, sir.
Especially since he's dealing with that accident that happened over here with the building collapse.
Oh, yeah,
So
the
that's
building
probably
collapses
what it
in this, that sad event where the parking garage collapsed. He was dealing with it. And yet he took time to attend this meeting. So thank you very, very much. Old business, just a reminder how important it is to achieve quorum. I thank the staff at DYCD for doing the incredible job to make sure that we have quorum, just everything they do besides that, in order to make sure that the CAB board functions as well as it does, and just the great work DYCD does for the people of the city. So thank you very, very much. There is no new business. Before we adjourn, I want once again to thank everybody who took time to attend this meeting. I know people have busy schedules, they have a lot on their plate, and we look forward to seeing you at the next CAB meeting, which is scheduled for Thursday, June 22nd at 6 p.m. So thank you all. And now I will entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting. It is now 7:33 p.m. Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, Donovan Swanson.
Donovan, you've been a hero tonight.
Anytime.
Seconded by
Ileana. Ileana De La Rosa.
Ileana
second.
De La Rosa. Thank you for the second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any nays? Anyone abstaining? So moved. Thank you all. Have a wonderful and safe evening. Good night.
Good night.
Right.